Today is another What I Ate in a Day, Unprocessed Part 2. If that sounds good to you, stick around. Hi, Debbie Chu here from Chew on Vegan, and welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, I'm a plant-based RN and I follow a whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating. And here you're going to find recipes that are whole food, plant-based, and delicious. Be sure to check out all the links below for all the resources I offer. I have an online course, and now is a great time to get my online course because I have different forms of payment, different payment plans, and you can get my course for as little as $27 a month. So if you are new to this way of eating, or if you're struggling, my course is really comprehensive and you'll get a lot of tips and tricks and a lot of things to help you keep consistent and reach your optimal health and weight. So a few weeks ago I did a video on unprocessed foods, and apparently you guys loved it because it was a hit. It got a lot of views. So I thought I would expand and do a part 2. So today I'm going to be showing you 3 meals and a snack. The snack has something that's minimally processed, but I'm going to still count it as unprocessed because it's about as close as you can get. So for breakfast I'm going to be making some air fried potatoes and some sauteed veggies, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy that is to pull together. And then lunch will be some soup. I'll be making a creamy roasted butternut squash and roasted tomato soup. Perfect for the cooler weather coming up. And then lastly, I'm going to be featuring some purple sweet potatoes. I just got through watching the documentary about the blue zones, and one thing that was really a common theme was sweet potatoes, and especially purple sweet potatoes. They're very high in antioxidants, and they're higher in potassium, and they just have a lot of good nutrition in there. And there's so many ways to prepare them. You know, you could make them baked, you could make them roasted, you could make fries out of them. Today I'm going to be making the mashed potatoes with the purple sweet potatoes. And then I'll also be showing you a quick little snack. So let's get started. So to get our soup started, we need to roast the veggies, and these need to roast for about an hour at 425. So I'm using an onion, I've got some tomatoes here, and then my butternut squash. I'm cheating today. It's not really cheating, it's just making things easier. It's convenient. And today is about unprocessed, easy, nutritious foods. So I've got, this is a 20-ounce package of butternut squash. So this is all gonna go into a baking dish. And let's get and I've also got some garlic. So we're just gonna throw the onions in. And what's going to happen as these roast, it's going to make a nice little like liquid that's going to be super flavorful that we're going to use in our soup. And then I've got, what have I got? 3, 4, 5, about 8 cloves of garlic. I know that's a lot. It's going to be worth it. Throw in our butternut squash. And then we'll just chop up these tomatoes, and these are heirloom tomatoes, but you can use really whatever kind you'd like. I mean, if you have tomatoes in your garden, oh, that'd be so good. So we're gonna just throw all this in, and then I'm just going to season with just salt for right now, and that will bring out the flavors and also the liquid that we'll get, and then we'll put it all together. All right, we're going to start our breakfast potatoes, and these can be lunch potatoes or dinner potatoes, but since I'm having them for breakfast, we're calling them breakfast potatoes. So I've got 4 pre-cooked Yukon Gold potatoes. You can use whatever kind of potatoes you want. These are my favorite. So the thing about pre-cooked potatoes is it somehow changes the starch, and it makes it a more resistant starch. So you're less likely to have a big insulin spike, which is really important, especially after menopause. It really helps with keeping your blood sugar stable. So I like to use pre-cooked potatoes more often than not. So I'm just going to chop these up. And they're just going to go into this little bowl. Whatever size you like to make them. Now I'm going to just season them with some garlic salt. And somebody said my spices are boring because I always use the same ones, which I don't. I use these the most. But what I say to that is, use whatever spices you want. My recipes are just a guide. You know, they're not engraved in stone, so just change it up to the spices you like. This is some onion powder and smoked paprika. And then I learned this trick from Planiful Kiki. And if it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me. So you put them in a container with a lid and then you just shake them. Crazy. And what this does is it roughs them up and it makes them crispier. And now we're going to add these to the air fryer. You always want to try to level them out as much as possible. And then these are going to go at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. And while those are cooking, I will show you what I'm going to make to go with these. All right, to add to our breakfast potatoes, we're going to saute some veggies. I've got my non-stick skillet on medium heat. Let it preheat a little bit. Then I've got red peppers and onions. Use my little chopper. And we're just going to saute these till they get a little softened and they get some color on them. It'll just take a few minutes. And if they start getting dry before they start getting a little color, just add a little water to the pan. After they get going for a couple minutes, I'm just going to sprinkle a little garlic salt on there. If you're salt-free, then just use garlic powder. All right, we're starting to get some color. I'm going to add a little water just to deglaze the pan and get all those flavor bits up. And now we're going to add some chopped spinach. And we'll just cook this for a couple minutes. Just till it wilts down a bit. It goes pretty quick. This is such an easy breakfast. Unbelievably easy. All right, I think that's about good. You see how much that cooked down? It looked like a lot. All right, let me grab a plate. We'll get it going. And you can do whatever kind of sauce you want. If you want to do cheese sauce, barbecue sauce, it's all up to you. Now we have these beautiful roasted veggies. I'm going to put those in the pot with all that liquid. So I'm going to add some spices. I've got thyme, sage, and rosemary. I would hold off on the salt because we salted the veggies and I think that might be enough. Then I've got 2 cups of broth. Now I'm going to add a can of white beans, and this is going to help make it creamy. Just stir this in a bit. All right, now we're going to blend it with our immersion blender. And if you don't have an immersion blender, it's a really good investment. I use mine all the time. So you just want to make sure it's pretty smooth. And then it wouldn't be a Debbie Chew recipe without, guess what? Greens. So I'm adding a bunch of finely chopped kale, or you could use spinach, or you could just leave it out and eat your greens on the side. But I like mine in the soup. And I just let it sit in here for about 5 minutes till it gets nice and wilty. And that's it. Our easy, delicious, creamy roasted butternut, squash, and tomato soup. This is one of my favorite snacks. I've got some crackers, some hummus. This is my oil-free hummus, and some grapes. And the crackers I'm using are Mary's Gone crackers, and these are minimally processed. They're really delicious. There's no oil. It's brown rice, quinoa, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, onion, garlic, sea salt, and it's all organic. So I think this will qualify for unprocessed. I mean, it's very minimally processed. Anyway, this is one of my favorite snacks. So these are the purple sweet potatoes, and they are really high in potassium, higher than any other sweet potato. And they also have high levels of anthocyanins, which is the pigment that gives it that purple color. It's also found in blueberries. So these are just high in antioxidants. So I'm just going to boil these up. I'm going to leave the peels on, and I will peel them after they're cooked. It just makes it easier to get the peel up. But look at that color. That is gorgeous, and it's going to make beautiful potatoes. So I'm just going to chop these up into big chunks and then boil them until they're fork tender. And I'm also adding a couple cups of cauliflower to give it some more nutrients, fiber, and that way you're getting some veggies in with your starch. So I'm just going to continue chopping up my sweet potatoes, and then we'll be back to finish them up. All right, so I drained them. I reserved a little bit of the cooking water. I've already added salt, 1 teaspoon, and they peel really easy. You just let them sit for about 5 minutes. They're still hot, but you can handle them. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of cumin, and then you're just going to use a hand masher and mash everything up. Now the thing about these purple sweet potatoes is they are starchier and they're a bit drier. So we're going to add some plant milk as well. All right, let's put a little bit of I'm going to put a little bit of the cooking water in. Now once you get the big lumps out with your hand masher, then I'm going to use my electric mixer. I'm going to add a little soy milk. Here we go, finished product. Look at those colors. The purple against that dark green. Broccolini is so delicious. It's just baby broccoli. All right, let's give it a taste. It's definitely weird to be eating something that's purple, like a potato. But if you can look past that, you're going to get a whole lot of goodness in there. These are not quite as sweet as the Japanese or the Hana's, but they are sweet. And I like that cumin kind of balances that. And I bet you kids would love to eat purple food. That'd probably be something exciting for them. So eating unprocessed is really very simple. It's just eating foods in their whole state, as close as whole as you can get. And what fits the bill better than potatoes and vegetables and beans and rice, things like that. Everyday items, they're also very inexpensive, but oh so good for you. If you've made it this far in the video, please comment below with purple sweet potatoes. and that way I know you made it to the end with me, and I really appreciate it. Be sure to check out all the links below for everything that I offer, all my resources. It's a great time to buy my online course. I've got a newsletter, I've got a Facebook group, so check those out. And remember that all my recipes are good for you, they're good for the animals, and they're good for the planet, and what you put on your plate determines your fate and your weight. Until next time, thank you. Another What I Ate in a Day. I'm going to be making a creamy roasted butternut.